Hey guys, quick history of industrial organizational psychology. Um, Hugo Munsterberg has been called the founding father of IO psychology. He was a psychologist at Harvard University. His book he released in 1913 on psychology and industrial efficiency is considered the first textbook in IO psychology. It was the first to discuss topics such as how to find the best person for the job, how to design jobs to maintain efficiency, how to deal with things like fatigue, etc. Frederick Taylor, also a major player in psychology. He was actually not a psychologist, but he is considered one of the founding fathers of something called scientific management. So basically, Taylor was an engineer. He was a management consultant. He pioneered time studies. So what those are, he would time people to see how long it took them to do something, and he would determine the most efficient way for them to do it, what the best equipment was to provide to them so that they could produce more. He pioneered time studies where management observed how work was being performed and how it could be performed better. Lillian Gilbreth, she and her husband, so first, she was the first to complete a PhD in IO psychology. She and her husband developed, so they furthered Frederick Taylor's ideas by conducting time and motion studies, but also bringing more humanism to the efforts. So Taylor was very much about the organization, the industry. How can we make things better for the industry? She was very much about how can we make things better for people. She underlined the importance of how workers felt about their jobs in addition to how they could perform their jobs more efficiently. So she realized that the better people feel about their jobs, the better they're going to perform, the more likely they are to stay. So she was also the first to bring attention to the value of observing job candidates while they perform their jobs. She ran a consulting business. Her advising of GE and kitchen redesign resulted in foot pedal trash cans, shelves, and refrigerator doors. So those are just like some of the practical things or ways in how IO psychology is very, very important. If you have ever seen the movie Cheaper by the Dozen, it is based on her life. Quickly, two other very important things that happened. So first off, in World War One, all of a sudden you had all these soldiers and you had soldiers returning home. But in the war, they needed to know where they should place these soldiers. So World War One, it really was a turning point for the field of IO psychology. It is where placement testing, where they started using testing to determine what type or what the best fit was for a person. So if you guys remember, we talked about a lot about selection, like the tests, the personality intelligence tests that you will take usually before an interview for a job. That first was used in World War One. Dropped off a little bit after that, but then now in this day and age, we use it a lot. Lastly, the Hawthorne studies were studies done by Harvard researchers where they wanted to see how different effects in a room would affect a person's productivity. They realized that employees responded more to being paid attention to and observed rather than the level of lighting. So really, it kind of helped them realize that employees need more personal interaction, or they need to know that what they're doing is important, more than awesome workplace design, or maybe not more than, but in equal measures too. So whereas Taylor wanted to see what it was very specifically that could help a person do their job the best, and then Gilbreth brought in the person aspect of it, the Hawthorne studies just really emphasized that people like really being appreciated and noticed for their work. these studies really helped underline the importance of understanding employee psychology to make sense of their behavior. So what is it that is affecting a person? What is it that is affecting their work? That is kind of how IO psychology was born. IO psychology always is kind of strengthened, especially the first couple wars that we had really strengthened the study of IO psychology, just as we were determining best fits for people both during and after the wars.